My friend just dropped me off at the end of the road here in Juneau, Alaska. The plan is to follow this trail over here until I make it to water and spend a couple of nights. I don't have a tent, I don't have a sleeping bag. The temperature is about 36 degrees right now. I'm just planning to make it a couple of nights without getting too cold or too wet. It probably won't be a really fun night tonight. I'm anticipating being wet and cold, but tomorrow should be a great day. We'll see how it goes. I made it to the water. It looks like a beautiful sandy beach. I mean, it's covered with snow right now. I can't see the water, but I figure it's over there someplace. I don't want to be right next to the trailhead, so I'm going to keep walking in that direction, and I guess when I get tired of walking, I'll pull off into the trees and get set for the night. Well, now it's raining quite a bit harder. It's not like a downpour or anything, but it's a steady drizzle. I'm gonna get soaked if I stay out any longer. I'm gonna head up into those trees. They're not like the trees we have back home, but as thick as the foliage is, I think we should be able to find something that'll keep the wind and rain off us, at least to a degree. Not sure if I want to go that way or this way. The problem, we want it to be thick so that it keeps the weather off of us, but all of these branches are soaking wet, so as I walk through them, they'll transfer that soaking wet to me. But hopefully it opens up in here next to the trunk of some of these trees, and I'll be able to make something work. Maybe in there. Let's see what we can find here. Yeah, just like this. Got a big old tree spreading its limbs out. All these other trees around us should be able to keep a little bit drier in here than I would otherwise. Well, this might be home sweet home tonight. It's actually pretty amazing how well this thing is spread out. I think I am gonna take the pack off. This is the quickest way to lose weight. Look at that, just a couple of buckles, and suddenly I'm 70 pounds lighter. All right, order of business, I think, is to see if this stuff burns. It's dead, but it's so damp. I'm not sure how easy this is going to be, but guaranteed it's going to be drier on the inside than it is on the outside. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think we'll be able to get a fire going. I'm assuming this is all pretty wet. Oh yeah, that's soaked. It's frozen just a little way down there. Wonder what that came off of. Now this isn't my home turf, but my guess is this would be from a deer. Something was getting after it here. I don't see other bones, so it might be that a fox or Another scavenger carried this over here. But I'm not going to do too much more exploring tonight. There's not much rain falling in here, so I think I'm going to build myself a fire. I'm going to cook some dinner, and I'm going to curl up and try and get some sleep. Camera just turned off, and I don't know why, but I just found a lot of firewood. This might be a better place to camp. There's always water here. It's always misty or rainy. The sunny days must just be paradise, but it's not sunny that often. So I'm gonna harvest some firewood and probably take it back up to that other one. So my favorite fire starter of all time is birch bark, but I don't have any of that around here. This is sometimes almost as good. Just show you how well that stuff burns. Just chipped off that piece of bark with pitch on it. It's got to get kind of hot before it goes, but once it starts, this stuff is incredible. I better get some more to get it on there. Otherwise, I'll run out of that pitch will burn out and then I'll be out of luck. Well, I'll just get more. That piece came from right here, and there's more right here. Pretty much anywhere the tree gets injured, you can see it leaking out under that one. These trees are different than the ones where I live. It seems like they must flex in the wind or something. There's a lot of sap leaking around the base of the limbs, but when you need to get a fire going, that's the only thing burning right now. Those little twigs aren't doing much. I better get to work. Alright, I think I've got the fire in a good spot to make dinner. For dinner tonight, I borrowed a pot that my friend said he didn't really need anymore, so if I destroy it, then it's not that big of a deal. But I've got myself some pork chops. $5 for 5 chops seemed like a good enough deal to me. Get myself some butter, and when I'm camping I like to get the spreadable butter that's in a container. If you just get the sticks, then they tend to get all smashed up, and I always end up getting pine needles and everything else in them. So my preference is to get something that's got a container And you know, cold butter is really hard to put on bread and things anyway, so I get the spreadable stuff, and it seems to make my life a little bit easier. So we'll melt ourselves some butter. Shouldn't take very long. I'm not worried about consuming too many calories. I think tonight I'll shiver hard enough that any extra calories I consume should melt away. At least that's the hope, right? Some butter. Now, just throw a couple of chops in there. Alright, well, I spilled half of it on the ground. I've got some pepper. A little bit of salt. By a little bit, I mean not a little bit, quite a bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Ooh. Not a little bit of that either, quite a bit of that. It'll still eat just fine. Flip that over. Flip that over. A little bit of salt. Okay, that was more like a little bit. That's what I was trying for on the other side. A little bit of pepper. Perfect. See, we're getting the hang of it. Let's go fry it up. I was not smart enough to bring a plate, so maybe I'll just eat these and then cook the bread. Here we go. That'll work. Alrighty. See if this stuff's any good. It smells good. That'll do just fine. It's hard to overstate just how good butter, salt, and pepper are. If you just have those three things, you can be happy. Oh yeah. The old timers, they'd do anything for fat. You know, just calories were so hard to get. You know, most of the meat that you're able to hunt for is really lean. They'd do anything for fat. You know, they'd render lard off of bears, moose, geese, wherever they could get it, just because it's pretty valuable when you're living a high calorie lifestyle where you just are always burning your body's stores. So having pork that I can just buy at the store, I don't know, makes me happy. I want to sleep between those roots over here. Seems to be the driest place on this tree. You can see how there's one side of the tree that's dark and one side of the tree that's not. I don't know if you can tell very well with the smoke right now, but there's the line that goes right down the middle of the tree, which tells me that that side of the tree gets more water on it than that side of the tree. I think I'd rather be on the dry side. So I'm gonna knock down some of these branches, and I might move the fire over here so that I'll be able to get a little bit of warmth off it. It won't be much, but some is better than none. If you can see, the sawdust I'm getting it's like snow. That's not what we want. We want chunks to come out of there, chips. So this saw has definitely seen better days, but it still works. It's better than chewing on it. This wood should burn extremely well though. Look at all the pitch coming out of that. It's just running out of there. Soaked in there pretty good, so my guess is it'll light up like a torch. At least after it dries out a bit. It's still pretty damp. Even though this is the dry side of the tree, it's always raining. So dry is sort of a relative term. Drier, I suppose. This wood is, it's solid, hard as a rock, really tough to chop, but means it'll burn well. On the bottom, my good solid firewood, I try and cut out all the air gaps that I can. So I stack those all the same direction and I pack them in tightly so there's as little air as possible. And as I'll build a fire on top of this pyramid, and as the coals trickle down in there, these will burn, but they'll burn more slowly than normal, which means it'll be a smoky fire that isn't all that hot, but it'll burn for a long time. And since I don't believe I'll actually stay that warm tonight because this fire won't get much heat to me, I haven't built any kind of a shelter to reflect the heat or contain the heat from the fire. So the benefit of keeping a fire going is that when I wake up freezing cold, all I have to do is throw some firewood on there and warm up again and go back to sleep. I've got the fire ready for the night. When I get cold, I'll just wake up and cut some more firewood. That'll warm me up and get me some more firewood. We'll start the whole thing all over again. Well, it's nighttime for me. I don't have anything to separate me from the ground. I could go and cut a bunch of boughs and lay them down, but the pine needles that I'm laying on are fairly dry on top. They're not frozen, so I've got a little bit of separation before ice. Any separation between body and ground is always good, so I should go get some, but it's really late. It's probably 1 o'clock or so. I had enough of a day that I'm just gonna call it quits. I'll let that fire keep burning, and I've got my rain gear on, so hopefully it keeps me warm. It'll at least keep me dry if I don't melt it. But I'm gonna get some sleep now. Have a good night. My phone says it is 2:36. So I slept for almost exactly an hour and a half. I don't know why that's the magic number, but every time I do this, it seems like I sleep great for an hour and a half. Then I wake up chilly. Fire's still going just fine. It's burned down a good bit, but there's a lot of heat coming off of it. I'm gonna go cut some more firewood and we'll do it again. And this is why they call firewood the fuel that warms you twice. It warms you when you gather it, and it warms you when you burn it. Back to bed. Boy, get the old raincoat back on. Hopefully it's getting light by the time I wake up again. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but a very loud goose just flew over. I wasn't fast enough to get the camera up, but I probably could have slept a little bit longer that time. But the goose said no. It's about 6 a.m. I guess I'll do one more cycle. I'll cut some more firewood, see if I can sleep some more. And then we'll get up and get about the day. I'm back to bed. At least for a little while. I'm sure that bird is a beautiful person, but that is really loud. I was sleeping really well that time. It's really getting light out there. I could get up, but well, maybe I'll at least go see what kind of critter that is. What time it is? It is 7:01. I think I'm going to leave him alone for now, but now that it's daylight and I can see where I'm at, I'm going to say it's a beautiful place. Ocean, mountains, they've got it all.
That's the end of part 1 of my Southeast Alaska trip. Thanks for watching. Join me for part 2 where I go crabbing for the first time and show just how little I know about the ocean. Until then, be good if you can and careful if you can't. Later.